You know, there's a lot of impressive art made for Sonic games, many of which are unlocked in those games as extras. But is that the only way to see these illustrations? Well, there are art books, official art books, lots of them actually. And in this video, I would like to show all of you every single official art book made for Sonic the Hedgehog. So what's the first one? Sonic Generations. Released in November of 2011, this game had a collector's edition. It was pretty much the first collector's edition for a Sonic game, and just like any collector's edition, it was full of stuff that you would only look at once and never again. One of those things being an art book. For the most part, it only includes art that was used to promote various games. There's nothing really that exciting in it. Most of the pages look like collages of random art from specific eras from Sonic's history. Actually, there is something that caught my eye. Kind of random, but there are early versions of stock art images in this book. These were drawn by Yuji Okawa. We don't really get much when it comes to the creation of stock art images, so it's interesting how they put these drawings in this book. Now, when it comes to these colorful ones, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these ones were never meant for that. But you might recognize some of these drawings, like this drawing of Werehog. It got a colored version made to promote Sonic Unleashed. Same thing for this drawing of Chip. Sadly, they robbed him of his Sunday Supreme. Most of these were never used for anything outside of a series of wallpapers exclusive to Sonic Channel. It's an official Japanese website. They always have wallpapers that they release monthly each year, and these sketches appeared in a series of wallpapers from 2009 and 2010. So yeah, cool for these sketches to appear in this book. We might see them later in the video. But yeah, that's about it for this book. Not bad, and they would only improve with the very next one. Like 5 years later. Sonic the Hedgehog 25th Anniversary Art Booklet. Before I talk about this book, let me tell you about the event it was made for. Back in 2016 in the UK, Sega Europe partnered with Washington Green, a fine art publisher. They created a special art exhibition with contributions from 9 artists who created 25 pieces of art inspired by Sonic to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the franchise. The very first event was a private one and only lasted one day on December 1st, 2016 in London. But the next day, you were able to enter the gallery and check out the collection yourself. Signed limited edition pieces of some of these artworks were also available in 34 Castle Fine Art locations. A lot of them were either limited to 250 copies or 125 copies. You would get a certificate of authenticity as well, which has signatures from the artist and even Naoto Oshima, the designer of Sonic, if you didn't know. Of course, the original art pieces were also available for purchase. These were the most expensive items in this whole collection. Very expensive. You were even able to buy exclusive prints available in this so-called portfolio collection. It had 4 prints, each with its own authentication card, which consisted of 3 signatures. One from the artist behind the art piece, one from the publisher, and one from Naoto Oshima as well. But okay, let's talk about the book now. During the private event, you were able to get yourself a guidebook, and from what I can tell, it was also available at the public exhibitions. The book essentially documents everything you need to know about this collection. There's a gallery of all of the art, a short biography about each artist and the inspiration behind every artwork. There's even information about the sizes of all of the prints that were available for purchase and their pricing. Yeah, not so cheap. It even shows the portfolio collection I mentioned before. The guidebook itself was a freebie. You were able to just grab one and there you go, you have it. But nowadays it's rare and expensive. There are barely any pictures of it online, so I'm glad that I was able to get it and show it off to you guys. Yeah, I overpaid. The book also has a digital version and it's still available online. I mean, it's only 38 pages out of like 83, so it's not like the whole thing, and for some weird reason there's only information about the different prints and reproductions, but not the originals. I don't know why, but okay. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Now let's move on to the next book. Sonic 25th Anniversary Art Book. The book was announced in 2016, which was Sonic's 25th anniversary, made by an international art gallery, book publisher and video game art store Cook & Becker. They had to delay this book a few times due to them not being satisfied with the print quality, Originally, it was supposed to be April, then May, and finally they started to ship it all out at the end of June. People finally started to receive their books in July of 2017. There were two options, standard hardcover or the collector's edition. The collector's edition came in a box with an inner sleeve that folds into a book stand. It also came with a hand-numbered exclusive art print by Yuji Uekawa. They only made 2,500 copies of this edition, and after it sold out, you weren't able to get it from them anymore. Full of never-before-seen concept art, some of them we did see before, but this time they were rescanned and presented in even higher quality and resolution. At the very beginning, there's an introduction to the book, what Cook and Becker is all about and what is the goal of this book. They're thanking Sega for this opportunity and all the Sonic team members that they interviewed for this book, as well as Yuji Naka. Alright, so they actually interviewed some people for this book. That's great. This book has 4 chapters. In the first one, they tell us the story of Sega and Sonic. What was going on before Sonic was created and why he was created. There's a lot in here, how they decided what animal Sonic should be, the gameplay, level design, all the issues they ran into. It's a really detailed story and a nice look back at what was going on behind the scenes. During this, and even after, we get to look at all of the art for Sonic the Hedgehog from 1991, showing off the concept art for all the levels and character designs, and even some obscure stuff like a bit of this brochure showing some store displays for the first game. It's really cool to see. Oh yeah, there are sprites. Cool. Wow, there are a lot of these. One sprite on one page. Okay, anyway, they look great, yeah, but these seem to show these off a bit too often. Oh look, a folded page. It's Green Hill Zone, okay. Looks like a screenshot? No, it's more like a mock-up. A widescreen mock-up. They made a good amount of these fold-out pages in this book. They look great. I don't think these were necessary in my opinion, but they do look great. Yeah, it looks fantastic. Oh, look at this. A see-through page. I'm not sure what this is actually called, but that's cool. You can layer it on top of the finished Green Hill Zone and wow, that doesn't work at all. I think you're supposed to like overlay it on top of the screenshot. No? It's not really scaled that well. Pretty cool to see this art regardless. Alright, so now that we got through the first game, let's go and check out Sonic 2. No, I can't believe this. What is this? Why would you make this? This did not come from Sega. I refuse to believe that. This is the Japanese and US art combined, excuse me? Who did this? Who did this? I'm stumped. I have no idea what's going on here. This is just a full-page lie. Let me tell you something. Besides the fact that Sega supplied them with all the art and various material they also had fans contribute to this book. Which is a great idea. Sega doesn't have all of the stuff that they ever made, so why not involve the fans in this project? And in the credits, we can see who contributed what, and on which page. Cool. And oh, would you look at that? No one is credited for sending in this image. Now, yeah, these guys are not credited for anything specific, but I assume they gave them some information and tips rather than art. I don't know. And no, I wasn't able to find this image online either. So maybe I can't find it because someone made it just for this book. Either way, I don't know about you, but this doesn't look good. This is just a lie. Who greenlit this? Who looked at this and said, yeah, good, print it. Yeah, I'm stuck on this. This is ridiculous. This is an official book. You can't just make stuff up. Where did this come from? You know, maybe I should ask them about what happened. So I did. I sent Cook and Becker an email, I asked a few questions for them to answer, and I'll show you all of them throughout this part of the video. No, I won't, because they couldn't answer my questions, and they told me that I should ask Sega instead. Yeah, I'll be honest, asking Sega, yeah, no, it's pointless. Maybe if I were an actual journalist, maybe then they would at least read my email. I don't know, I don't even know how to contact them first of all. And do you really think that they would want to talk to some random guy about a book from 2017? No. Too bad. They couldn't answer me, that's alright. Because there actually was an interview with their CEO made before the release of this book. Segabits managed to interview Martin Brands back in 2017, a few months before the release of the book. It's a great interview. It gives some insight into how the project came to be and how they went about making it. It didn't really answer all of my questions, but now I understand why they did some of the things in this book. Like, for example, lots of pixel art. Why?
What I personally really like is just the pixel art, the in-game art. It's just fascinating how much those artists were able to communicate in just a couple of frames and just a couple of pixels, which is really impressive. So all the limitations that they have and being able to make something so expressive, that's I really like that. So for us, it was also very important to have the pixel art in the book.
True, yeah, it is impressive, but I still don't think they had to slap so many of these sprites all over the place. It just feels like a waste of space, which they definitely needed. A single sprite on the whole page? You know, originally this segment of the video was supposed to be done. I wanted to start talking about other things in this book, but then me and my friend noticed that not only is there more wrong with this cover, but other covers as well, such as Sonic CD. This weird arrow is missing. Why? I don't know. That's strange, right? Well, how about Sonic 3? This big yellow circle is layered on top of whatever this is. This text is slightly different. This star is just gone. There's another layering issue here. There are two Sega logos for some reason. Wow, okay, this is getting weird, huh? Well, let's go back to Sonic 2. I'm sure that this is obvious to you by now, but there is more. Sega logo twice. Again, this is yellow, not white for some reason. The font doesn't match. Spacing between all of this stuff is off. These black shadows are thicker. And also, look at the page next to it. It uses the same graphics that this box art has. They just straight up reuse the graphics they recreated. So this confirms it then. These are recreations. Or at least Sonic 2 is? Or are they all recreations? I don't know, but okay, why even do this? Is it because they wanted to have these covers in higher resolution for the book? Well, yeah, okay, that's fine. But why not tell us this? These are not the actual covers. I'd rather have you use scans instead of recreating these covers. Maybe it's just me, but I expected this book to have real old artwork, not edited, recreated art that kinda looks the same but not really. There are no disclaimers anywhere about that. Do you want people to believe that this is the real deal? That's not right. I think they only did this to those 3 games. I mean, I hope. Sonic 1 looks like it's the actual cover, and I'm pretty sure these Sonic and Knuckles ones are just photographs of the actual copies. Although, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, but these Sonic Advance covers? I've never seen those before. What is that blacked out part? It's not the barcode. Maybe you guys can tell me. Sonic Advance 3 has some stuff missing too, like the 0 rating. I don't know. Maybe these advanced covers were like that in Sega's archives? Strange. Anyway, let's keep moving. There's still way more to talk about. Another thing I noticed about this book is how sometimes it's inconsistent with the time frames. Why is this Sonic Advance 3 art and sprites here? We're currently talking about Sonic CD. That's 1993. It didn't show stuff from the future for other characters, so why change that now? How about this? Not really their fault, but I want to point it out. This Metal Sonic concept art, it's dated to 2005? Why is there concept art of him from 2005? I have no clue. What was that for? How about this? So, Sonic Channel, you know it, right? Remember this art I showed you before? They used some of that art in this book as well, and I think they thought it was actual concept art. Well, okay, like I said before, some of these ended up being used to make actual promotional images, so they are kinda concept art, but just for the poses, for the art, not for the design of the character. Look at this page on classic Super Sonic. That's modern Super Sonic, first of all. Second, why is it here? We have real concept art from back then, and in the middle we have this drawing from like 20 years later. It looks like they're trying to frame it as an actual piece of concept art from back then. How about this? Here we have art for classic Metal Sonic. Again, why is it here? Is it just to make the page look nice? Well, okay, I guess this placement is better than putting it next to actual concept art. Wanna see some early designs of Babylon rogues? Here you go. Again? Sonic and the Black Knight? Nope. These artworks are not labeled as anything, and the spots they chose to place these would normally indicate that they are indeed early designs of these characters. But they're not. That's just misleading. Be honest here. Does this look like just a nice little decoration or concept art for these characters? I bet someone got fooled by this. Sure, for Super Sonic and maybe Metal Sonic, you could notice how there is something wrong with them, since the classic and modern proportions are different, but come on, man. Alright, the next chapter is pretty much about how 3D was starting to be a big thing, and how developers want to experiment with it. Sonic Extreme is mentioned, which is awesome. No artwork, just words. Sonic R is here, and 3D Blast, of course. Well, maybe they weren't allowed to show anything for Extreme, which is unfortunate, but okay. Well, that was the early days. You know, while I do really enjoy these chapters, and their main focus is the history, they do talk about the design process of Sonic, as they should, right? It is an art book. I want to learn about how these characters were designed. But they mainly talk about Sonic. Other characters get pretty much nothing. But hey, there are other quotes sprinkled around the book. Those are probably really interesting. Not really. We get a couple of quotes, but these don't give us much to learn about. Oh, Izuka-san talks about Shadow, put this quote next to him. But all he says is how Shadow and Rouge expanded the character roster in Sonic Adventure 2. Okay, I mean, yeah, true. You want to see one of the designers talk about some of these artworks? Too bad. They never talk about the art included in this book. It's clear that they just want to focus on the history aspect and Sonic's design evolving over the years and nothing else. But come on! These chapters at some point just feel like a completely separate thing from the rest of the book. Why not ask all of these people you interviewed to talk about the art that's in the book? Or the design process of these characters? All I want is just a few sentences talking about the characters they made. Of course I don't need them to give a detailed description of everything in this book. Well, at least we can check out all these cool sketches. They do have some things written around them that are not translated. This book has no translations. None. There is space for that, but they just didn't do it. So just guess what it says. Great! No translations, no comments, and a handful of irrelevant quotes. That's it. Oh, okay, a new chapter. It's Sonic Adventure, probably my favorite Sonic era. Here we learn how Yuji Okawa created modern Sonic. We learn why Sonic's design changed and why he has green eyes, but also what happened after Dreamcast's production ended and what it meant for Sonic. Probably my favorite chapter, mainly because it's the Adventure era. Alright, we got some Sonic Adventure art. Wait, City Escape? That's Adventure 2. Okay, are we just already done with Adventure 1? Well, there's quite a lot for Adventure 2, really cool. I love these sketches. They're so detailed. Ciao, hey, that's all. Nothing else? Ah yes, Shadow and his prototype, Terios. I think some of these drawings were not seen before actually. We might see these later in the video, by the way. Big, hey, Gamma, Chaos. That's it for him. His Sonic Battle artwork? Oh, and Rouge gets all of this. Tikal, one artwork. From a mobile game. They just keep flip-flopping from some drawings to no drawings. Advanced series, oh yeah. Oh nah. That's all of it. Cream gets something here and there. Omega, nothing. And guess what the Chaotix get? Wow. Why are we just skipping everything? That's it? There's nothing here but promotional images with screenshots. What's going on? Where's all the art, like in the previous chapters? Yeah, as you can see, the more we go towards the present, the less stuff they're actually showing us. It's like they realized that after presenting a lot of the stuff for the classic games, they won't be able to fit much more in this book. So in the end, all you get for the last few games is key art and some promotional renders. Where's the balance here? The last chapter is about Sonic Boom, talking about redesigns and the TV show. Yeah, I'm glad they talked about this. It's just kind of weird seeing so much text after like 60 pages of nothing. Well, that's it. Oh, wait, guess what? There is more. They actually re released this book once in 2019. That's also the version that I have. It's pretty much the standard edition again, with only a few things changed, such as the cover of the protective sleeve. They did add Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, and Team Sonic Racing to the book, which adds 32 extra pages. We get a new chapter, that's awesome. It talks about Sonic Mania and Christian Whitehead, how it all came to be. Then there's some info on Sonic Forces. Yeah, that's good. I wouldn't expect them to add that much to a re-release, so that's great. We also get some more concept art, mainly from Sonic Mania Plus. Forces gets a little bit, and Team Sonic Racing gets nothing. I see a pattern. Classic Sonic getting everything and modern just not. Other than that, it's full box art renders and some promotional artworks. They didn't fix anything, but they did add this text to the credits and updated the softography list. Oh, right, softography. Yeah, that was a surprise back when I got the book. At the very end, they have a huge list of every Sonic game ever made at that point. I mean it. Like they added games from Sonic Cafe. I bet most people don't even know what that is. It's really in depth. It's surprising to see such a complete list like that on an official level. They forgot to add Sonic Forces Speed Battle in the 2019 version, but it's still a great list. As an extra fact, because I don't know where to put this, Cook and Becker wanted to include not only rare official artworks, but were also planning on featuring merchandise too. For example, Adam Tuff made lots of great photographs that were meant to be in the book, but these were never included. I guess they wanted to focus on art alone or just couldn't fit a section about merchandise, which is fine, but kind of a shame at the same time because it would have been interesting to see the history of Sonic's merchandise in an official book. Maybe one day. This book is such a mixed bag. It has art that we've never seen before, and it's presented really well outside of some wasted space. But then you continue to flip through the book and you see less and less of it, while also noticing all the stuff that's just simply wrong. Outside of the art, all the chapters have cool stories to tell. Why didn't you ask about how all of these characters were designed? What, did Hoshino-san have nothing to say about designing Amy and Metal Sonic? It's kind of weird how they just didn't focus on that. It's an art book. You interviewed all of these people and didn't ask about any of the art that you're presenting? What? A lot of these artworks are also mislabeled. It's obvious that they had a lot of issues with identifying art in this book. They had fans help with the project, but clearly that wasn't enough. And trust me, I didn't even show you all of it. You could still find a few more odd things in here. This megapixelated Sonic CD artwork? What's up with that? I don't know. This Tikal render from Sonic Runners seems to be an early version. The most noticeable thing is the mouth. Yeah. And this thing, which I didn't even notice on my own. This Twitter user pointed out that this sprite of Amy from Sonic CD doesn't appear in the game. It turns out that this was made by a fan. Doc Melonhead took the sprite sheet of Amy from the final version and combined it with the prototype sprites of her. Now, sadly, I wasn't able to find the original upload or anything, but there is one mod pack of different Amy Rose sprites and it has Doc Melonhead sprites. And yeah, that's the one. And it's funny, because they have an actual official sprite right next to this one. It's like, what happened here? How? This book keeps on giving. Alright, you get it. The book has a few mistakes here and there, but even after all of that, I still like this book. It just doesn't feel like they didn't care. With all the work put into this, the interviews, involving the fans, they had Kazuki Hoshino and Yuji Uekawa send them art to include in this book. They also had access to the archives and they did show a lot of never before seen art at the time. I personally still like this book. I just can't make myself hate it, and you know what? I do hope that they get another shot at it. Maybe focusing on character designs alone, and interview these designers about the characters they created. But if they ever make another Sonic book, I hope they get someone who knows a lot about this franchise to help and guide them. Because while I don't fully agree with the presentation in this book, for the most part it's really nice. They just need someone to check for all the mistakes they make along the way. But if you think that this book sucks, yeah, I get it. I just hope that I presented this book in a somewhat fair light, which wasn't going to be easy with all these weird mistakes and all, so maybe I failed on that front. If you wanna get it, yeah, go ahead, but it's not really cheap and you can't get it from Cook and Becker anymore, so good luck. Wow, there was a lot to talk about here, huh? Maybe too much. There are still a lot of books to cover. Oh yeah, there is more. Since this book came out, we've been getting art books kinda consistently. We'll see for how long. Next up, Sonic Mania Plus. The first time Sonic Mania was released, it was only available digitally, but the very next year we got a DLC, and with that came a physical release of the game. That wasn't all. Every physical copy had an actual mini art book included. You get character art, level art, and even some Sonic the Hedgehog doodles made by Tyson Hess, showing you the unique level gimmicks in the front and the back of the book. There are also Sonic Mania adventure character sheets included, and art for the opening animation. Overall, not bad. There's maybe some concept art missing that we know of, and some of the art is overlapping, but it's really cool. There's quite a lot in this little book, and it even has some nice descriptions which were written by Aaron Weber. There's even a little Easter egg on the back of the book. It's Morse code. The first time I noticed it, I thought it said "By the Mania for the Mania," because it was made by the fans for the fans. And they really like to use this tagline in the marketing for the game. But the code actually says, "Together we are greater than the sum of our parts." Meaning that the team probably had a great synergy working together, and without even one of the team members, it wouldn't be such a great game that we got today. Or something like that. It's an Aristotle quote, by the way, just a bit different. Anyway, this wasn't the last small art book that they made. We got a few more after this one. The next one being Team Sonic Racing 30th Anniversary Edition. Oh yeah, they made an art book and included it with Team Sonic Racing. The game originally came out in 2019, but this edition was released in 2021 for the 30th anniversary of the franchise. It was a weird release. It kinda appeared out of nowhere, then a few months later it got more officially released. Nothing new in the actual game, no DLCs, I don't even think they dropped a single update at that time. So what is this then? The same game with a slightly different cover, this art book, and a slipcover to hold it all together. It has logos, character art, level sketches, and all the good stuff. It goes in a chronological order as you'd expect, and while there are pretty much no actual descriptions outside of a few lines of text explaining that you are indeed looking at a promotional image, it's just art everywhere. There are sprite sheets from a few games instead of any sketches, which is kinda meh, but it's presented in a nice way. There are surprisingly new things in this book and even some rare art. It has 2 pieces of concept art of Terios, and while we did get at least one of them before in Cook and Becker's art book, we've never seen this colored version of it. This book has some pretty interesting stuff in it. It's not just random well-known art, good stuff. Sonic Colors Ultimate. Released on September 9th, 2021, it did get its own art book. The thing is, it has nothing to do with the game it's included with. In fact, this doesn't even have any artwork made for the games. It's an art book of Sonic Picked, exclusive to Japan series showing Sonic characters just living their lives between the games, presented in the form of beautiful illustrations with nice little stories attached. You can also see some early versions of these artworks and read about the creation process for all of them. Before you actually open the book, the idea is that you listen to this CD while flipping through it. Each song was chosen to fit each illustration. It's honestly a pretty cool idea. At the very end, you can even read how the process of making these illustrations usually looks. These are mainly made by 3 people. Yui Karasuno is the one in charge of drawing. Normally she's overseeing artwork for Sonic. Itaro Toyoda is the one planning and directing. Usually he's a character supervisor. And of course, Kazuyuki Hoshino has the final say on the matter, and him being a creative director for Sonic, yeah, that's fitting. It's actually really cool to see this in the book. Even illustrations like these take a lot of time and effort, so I'm glad that they let us see how this process looks. They usually upload one image per month on the official Japanese Twitter account, but you can also download these pages on Sonic Channel as calendar pages. The book was only available in this Sonic Colors Ultimate Collector's Edition, released only in Japan. You might notice how they labeled this as Volume 1. Yeah, we never got more. That's it. It's been more than 4 years at this point, so I don't think they will bother making more, but hey, I wouldn't mind getting a nice huge book like this one with all of these illustrations from the whole series. And yeah, you probably noticed, but it has pretty much nothing to do with Colors Ultimate. It was probably necessary in order to release it, but anyway, please make a volume 2 or something, and maybe consider doing a nice English release as well. Oh, hold on. They kinda jokingly made a volume 1.5 actually. Around the release of this collector's edition, they posted a behind the scenes look at this Chaotix artwork, similar to what we see at the end of the book. And then, a year later, they did the same thing again, but for this silver artwork. Oh, and I might as well mention this as well. During one of the official Japanese live streams, they were showing off a prototype version of this collector's edition, including this art book, which showed us an early version of the cover art. They should have put this version of it in the book as well, to be honest. Let's continue. This book is only available in Japanese, so remember that. It's a fantastic book, even though I didn't translate the whole thing because translating with your phone isn't the best. So for the most part, I just looked at pretty pictures. There is some stuff translated online though, so that's good. Well, anyway, let's move on to the next book. Sonic Frontiers. This one did something new. Released on November 8th, 2022, this is the first Sonic art book to come out in a digital form. If you ignore the one made for the art exhibition, it wasn't even the full thing. Whatever, it doesn't count. It was released in the Digital Deluxe, which gave you a mini soundtrack and some other goodies in the game. But don't worry, the Japanese Collector's Edition came out with its own physical release of the same book. Both of these books are the exact same thing, so unless you want to actually have this book in your hands, you're not missing out on anything if you already have it digitally. The book itself has art on how they were designing the environments, all the ruins and objects that Sonic is interacting with. Of course, there is art for the Coco and Sage, but also for the Titans and all the enemies. Some concept art shows ideas that were not used in the end, like these golden variants of Soldier, Eagle, Spider, and Tower. For Eagle, there's only the white variant in the final game. Soldier, Tower, and Spider are only missing their golden variants. Morio Kishimoto, the director of the game, explained on Twitter that the golden variants were scrapped because it wouldn't fit in the memory due to the multi-platform nature of the game. It sucks that we never got these guys in the final game, not even in the Final Horizon update. Another thing is Squid had a different color scheme at some point. You can also see that his platform we chased him on was orange, and there was a different attack during the chase sequence. Instead of Squid shooting a series of energy balls for us to dodge, there were going to be random energy spikes coming from the road itself. Or maybe random small explosions? There is at least one more unused idea seen in this book with Caterpillar. This laser attack is not seen in the final game, nor is this weird stand that it would sit on top of. And while Caterpillar has a few laser attacks in the final game, there is footage of another attack which looks similar to the one seen in this book. Thanks to this video which leaked on April 9th of 2023 on Twitter, we can see how it looked. This is footage from Sega's internal meeting from 2021. The Caterpillar seen in this video is also the black variant, not the golden one. It's really cool to see Frontiers at this early stage, especially since we don't have that much early footage of it. One more thing, we can also see a couple of frames from this unfinished version of the intro cutscene where Eggman activates one of the portals to cyberspace. What else? The other designs for Ninja aren't in this book, like Kunoichi, Master Ninja, and Shinobi. They're just not here. Yeah, I think that's all of the interesting things that I know of. It's a good book, very clean, and shows you everything in a nice and organized way. Maybe they should have put some comments for us to read. This isn't a small book, really. It's not like the one made for TSR or Mania Plus. Actually, even Mania Plus had something to read, so what's this book's excuse? Sonic Origins Plus. Okay, so Origins Plus had two physical books. The first one was included with the game on June 23rd, 2023, and the other one came out next year in 2024 in a collector's edition made by Pix'n. This book is mostly just finished art like character art used in promotional material and box art covers. There is some rarely seen art in here, which we could see for the first time ever thanks to Sonic Origins and its DLC. But for more, you would have to play the actual game and unlock that stuff. Oh, and they do show these cool different covers for the physical release of Origins Plus. 3 regions in the world have a different reversible cover, and they show them in here too. They reference the 90s covers from Europe, Japan, and US. Right, this stuff. Probably my favorite drawings in the whole franchise. They're just so detailed and fun to look at. This art was actually used internally at Sega in the 90s for a newsletter of sorts, called Sega Harmony. It looks like most, if not all of these were made by Osamu Muto, though it seems that Naoto Oshima helped with a few of these as well, so maybe the illustrations with Osamu Muto's signature are the ones made entirely by him? I don't know, sadly this stuff isn't documented that well. Later on, they even made brand new illustrations for these Japan exclusive calendars in 1994 and 1995. Sega also released these illustrations in a PC program which was released in Japan in 1996 and then was bundled with Sonic & Knuckles collection on PC released worldwide in 1997, which is pretty much how people learned about these illustrations in the first place. Although, for this program they had to compress these images in order to fit them on the disc, which made them lose some detail and the colors looked oversaturated. Over the years, fans were able to scan and archive a lot of the Sega Harmony issues themselves, as well as the calendars, finally showing us how these illustrations were always meant to look. Even Sega decided to finally upload rescanned versions in 2022 around the release of Sonic Origins. I believe they uploaded these first on their Instagram account as calendar pages, and then a few years later they gave us these normal versions on their Twitter accounts. So, after all of this information, and us knowing that Sega did archive these illustrations on their end, why did they use these horribly compressed images in Sonic Origins Plus? Like, what? You already showed us that you did have them all digitized even before the release of the Plus expansion. You even put these better versions in this little art book. So why would you reuse these screensaver versions, hello? I don't get it. What else? Oh yeah, at the very beginning there are cool sketchbook drawings, and the same thing at the end of the book. Similar to what they did for Sonic Mania Plus art book. The ones seen in Origins Plus were made by Hirokazu Yasuhara during the development of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles. So overall, this little book kinda teases you with what to expect in the game's gallery, and while it doesn't use all of this unlockable art, it's still pretty cool to have it presented in an art book instead of just a simple gallery. Although, you lose out on all of the descriptions seen in the game. Not very detailed descriptions, but at least it has some. Alright, I'm not done with Origins Plus yet. There was one more book, remember? Released in 2024 by Pix'n is a collector's edition that included the game, a bunch of other things, and of course this 96 pages long art book. Now, they had to delay this like, I don't know, maybe 3 times. It was supposed to be released in late 2023, but oops, didn't happen. It released in April of 2024. The book is really cool. Before I got it, I was hoping for it to include some new art. I mean, we already got a lot of cool stuff in Origins, but it still felt like they could have given us way more. So I was hoping that since this was released after Origins Plus, it would come with new art in it. Well, okay, there are new images in this book that were not included in the game and its mini art book. Some of them are old promotional images, rarely seen, and it's awesome to have these in here, but technically it's nothing new. So what about concept art? Anything new? Yeah, there are a few. Have we seen this stuff before? Maybe, I don't know. They don't put a massive new sticker around these or anything, so it's down to your knowledge of this franchise. But what I am sure of is that they are not in Origins nor the mini art book. Now that I think about it, the mini art book, this big art book, and the in-game gallery all share the same images. But there are some that are only seen in one or the other, probably to keep all three of them interesting. But anyway, yes, this book for the most part has the same art you've seen in Origins Plus Gallery and its mini art book, with a handful of new images. So what else is in this art book? The book shows off lots of art for each game, concept art for the characters, enemies, and levels. You also get some pages showing off the sprites. After the main 4 classic games, they show off only the cover images for the Game Gear games, probably because they didn't even have anything else to show for them. Which is kinda unfortunate because that's like the last 30 pages and it's just this gallery of key art. At the very end, you get to see some Sonic Origins animation stuff like character designs and backgrounds. And that's it. Honestly, I really like the presentation in this book. They did a great job of the graphics on these pages. All the art included is quite big, which is why there's less stuff on each page, but I kinda like that. It's not as cluttered as some of the previous art books, and the art they chose is quite interesting. Oh, also, look at this. It's the same one we've seen in the Cook and Becker art book. The date is gone. Seriously, why did he date it to 2005? Whatever, let's move on. Sonic IDW Comic Art Collection. Released on November 7th, 2023, I won't lie, this is kind of out of my zone. I did read some of the Archie and IDW comics, but it's been some time and I'm not up to date with the recent IDW issues. But I guess I'll still talk about this and show you some interesting things. Released in a nice hardcover, the book itself has one cover variant with Super Sonic instead of regular modern Sonic, which I think was only available on IDW's website. This book has 120 pages and shows stuff like all the different covers for lots of issues and other miniseries, 4 steps of creating a single page starting from pencils to ink, color and letters. There are character design sheets, artist spotlights showcasing possibly their best work at the time in the series. Every piece of art is credited, showing you which issue it came from and who made it. I don't really have any fun facts to talk about in this book. I could mention that this drawing of a map made by Cream, but actually made by David Mariouette, is actually owned now by this Twitter user, Frack. Definitely a unique item to have in the collection. From what I can see, it's a great collection to look through. Of course, the behind-the-scenes stuff is always appreciated by me, but it really is better to know the final product first and then go crazy after seeing some early concept art. From what I know, this book has some errors which I think I should mention. Usually it's miscrediting or labeling some covers as cover D instead of B. Minor stuff, but still. Really good book, very nice. I wasn't really expecting a legitimate behind-the-scenes look on how they make these comic books, but maybe it's a common thing? I don't know. Actually, Archie wanted to make something similar. The art of the Sonic the Hedgehog comics. In June of 2015, Arcade Sushi got some exclusive news on the upcoming Archie comic books. A week later, Archie presented these news themselves on their own website. These articles also had news about their new Sonic comic issues, as well as an all-new art book made to celebrate the 20th anniversary of their Sonic comic book series. This one was supposed to come out on October 7th. Didn't happen, they just kept delaying it, and then we got to 2017. The book still wasn't out, and since Archie was about to lose their license, ultimately this collection never came out. It was going to have 304 pages covering more than 400 issues and would have included a behind-the-scenes look at the artists and their work, the finest pieces of art from the main series, Universe, Boom, and more, stage-by-stage breakdown of various artwork, a gallery of different cover variants. Yeah, pretty much what IDW did in their own book, but probably at a larger scale considering the amount of pages planned for this book. To be honest, this would have been a really cool way to end the whole series, especially since it never got a proper ending. It really is a shame that it never came out. Sonic Superstars. Released on October 17th, 2023, this art book is only available in the Digital Deluxe. Yeah, only. The Japanese collector's edition didn't have a physical art book this time. This one has 56 pages. Structure is pretty straightforward. Characters, zones, enemies, bosses, and animation related stuff. Every character has some nice model turnarounds, including their pixel forms seen in Cyberstation Zone. Except for Amy and Trip, you also get to see the different forms our heroes get after using different chaos powers. What I really like in Superstars is how you can customize your metal fighter. Sadly, there isn't much of him in this book. He's only seen in this artwork for the Cyberstation boss. We don't even get to see anything for the different accessories in the game, but we can check out all of the metal variants of our heroes. Except for Metal Sonic, what's up with all of these weird omissions? When it comes to Metal Knuckles, there's something really interesting about him and this concept art. You might notice how this art kinda stands out in comparison to everything else in this book. Well, that's because this is the original Sonic art concept art. We've never seen it until now. How do we know that it's the original? Apparently, this art was already used by the IDW artists when they wanted to use Metal Knuckles in their Sonic 30th Anniversary comic. Of course, they weren't able to share the image, but later on when Superstars was released, someone asked Aaron Hammerstrom if that's the artwork they used before. Turns out, yes, that's the one. You might ask, well, what about this Tails doll one? Nope, Sega apparently only gave them a 3D render and not actual 2D art. And unlike the Metal Knuckles one, it actually looks like it was drawn in the same style compared to everything else in this book, so sadly this one isn't from the 90s. One more thing, look at this. Eh? Pretty cool. Now we even have the original for that icon image. Moving on. We get to see more big animal bodies. Looks like they wanted to implement more than just 5 of them. Also, no Rocky 3D model showcase for some reason. We missed out on Big Ricky and Pocky, which is a shame, because after a while the ones that are in the game are repeated a few too many times in my opinion. They should have made these two as well. This snake seen in Sand Sanctuary is based on the snake seen in this Harmony artwork. Cool reference. Yeah, this is another solid book. It's similar to the one made for Frontiers. It's weird how the Japanese collector's edition didn't give us a printed version though. Sonic X Shadow Generations. Released on October 25th, 2024, and just like before, there's a digital deluxe, which gives you a mini soundtrack album and a digital art book. Oh yeah, this book was also released in a physical form in this Japanese collector's edition. Same shtick as the Frontiers collector's edition, the front and back covers are different, but everything else is the same. Just like with Superstars, it has 56 pages. Most of this book is about Shadow Generations and Dark Beginnings, the short animation series that was uploaded on YouTube. However, there's a little bit for Sonic Generations as well. For Shadow Generations, first we have a section about characters with these great illustrations all around. There are some technical drawings showing Shadow's Doom powers, how they look and what changes they went through. There's even some art for Gerald and Maria. Next we have stages, and we get even more of these illustrations. They are everywhere, which at times is all you're gonna see. Like, look at this. That's all you're gonna get here. There's nothing else to show us? I mean, these are great, but you know, bosses and enemies get their sections as always, and we get even more of these illustrations. Like, everything has at least one. I'm not really sure who made these. There are a lot of people credited in the game for art, but it is great and makes this book even more fun to flip through. It's also clearly concept art. For example, you can see Shadow's shoes looking kinda off in some of these pieces. There is a little bit for Sonic Generations. When it comes to concept art, there's nothing new, and all of this stuff was already available in the game as unlockable art anyway. But you do get some screenshots of the Chow in white space and a better look at all of their models. After that, you get a look at all the character designs and environments for the short series Dark Beginnings. Okay, another awesome book that most people probably didn't care about. I did, and I really like how they started to show behind the scenes content more and more with each game. Sure, it's nothing new for us to get concept art in Sonic games, but getting this stuff in art books? It's pretty cool, and I hope that they will keep making more of, or at the very least give us the digital versions. I was supposed to show you the Limited Run Games Collector's Edition right now, but guess what? They delayed it for the 5th time, I think? Well, people from the US did get it in December of 2025, but everyone else won't until December of 2026. And the statue looks, you already know how it looks. Wow, that's awesome. I can't wait to see what I'm gonna get. But to be fair, it looks like they're trying to fix the issues with the statue, which is why they delayed it yet again. But whatever, what about the art book that's included? Well, since some people already have it, we know that they changed the cover to be the one used in the digital version. Uh-oh, it's the same book. I knew it, this preview said it all. It was always going to be the same book. So yeah. Man, couldn't they at least keep this cover? Sonic the Hedgehog, the IDW comic covers, Volume 1. I didn't even know about this book until like 20 days after its release. Released on October 20th, 2025, is a collection of IDW comic covers. Volume 1. Yes, so it has what it says it has, every cover from issue 1 through 75, mini-series and everything else also included. You get to see cover variants for each issue with info on who drew what. It's great, it's what it says on the cover, not much else to include here. It's just a nice gallery of the fantastic art that they put on these covers. Okay, I mean it, last one. Sonic Racing Crossworlds. This game has 2 collector's editions. One made by LRG. I didn't buy it. I wasn't going to, especially since their Shadow Generations Collector's Edition wasn't even close to arriving at my place yet. But it does look cool, and that's how they get you. It's so funny, this Collector's Edition hadn't even come out and they announced another one. That's kinda crazy. Could you give me this one first? Japan got a Collector's Edition as well, but this time there's no art book. Instead, they got a towel with keychains, stickers, cards, a wall scroll, and this pretty cool crystal cube. I didn't buy this one either. So, what about the art book? Is the art book going to be exclusive to limited run games? Yeah, I guess so. It was not included in the digital deluxe. Yeah, that's going to be the only way to get it. Is that it? I didn't forget about anything, right? Honorable mentions! Sega TV Game Genga Gallery. Back in like 1994 or whatever, there was an official art book released in Japan. It has art from the Genesis Mega Drive and Game Gear versions of Sonic 1 and 2. It was published by Graphic Shaw. Cool book? I don't have it. Next, Sega Mega Drive Genesis Ultimate Works. This art book with a little bit of Sonic was released in 2014 and made by Read Only Memory. It was about the Genesis Mega Drive games yet again, and of course it has art for lots of Sonic games from that era. I don't have it! Sega Dreamcast Collected Works. This one was also made by Read Only Memory, released in 2022. It has art for Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure. Yeah, only Sonic Adventure. I also don't have it. What a cop-out. I know, but I wanted to mention these books as well. Anyway, tell me if I got something wrong or forgot about, and tell me if you liked the video. Maybe you have some questions? I don't know, ask me in the comments and maybe I'll reply. No promises. But for now, see ya. How many times did I say art book? Probably too many.